Well, hello everyone. Here to show you right here is the Jaycee Dugard Your Family Reunion, 2019 right here, talking about for Friday, August 30th, 2019, and talking about within the next 2 years or so, like talking about celebrating about the reunion of say whenever Jaycee Dugard she was found, and then whenever she was reunited with her family, and then have right here some examples right here of some paintings right here of different members of the family right here. And whenever I was working on this, doing so, I spent about 2 to 3 hours or so working on the details right here of knowing about if anybody was safe, and knowing about for who's who, and just think about it, if it's going to be aunts or uncles or maybe cousins, cousins maybe from the mom or dad side of the family, or if it's going to be anybody else maybe to the related to the, maybe if it's the step family, or if it's the half family, or something like that, friends that you may have known maybe from school or church or any other sorts of events or anything like that. But I was only able to fit about maybe about 8 people on here on this this painting right here, and like say that there may be about a few other members of the family as well. But talk about right here, as I talk about for Jaycee Dugard right here, and the way I went add in some more work right here for with the pencil right here. And I know if anybody will warrant to where that have right here is a mechanical pencil, and with this mechanical pencil, that if anybody will say that have you used it very much even for drawing for sketches, and I'm like yeah, you would use it mainly for like if you're going to be writing a paper or two, or if you're going to be needing it for school reasons. But really, I'm like, has anybody ever learned to where that with besides the pencils that you sharpen, and compared to the pencils that you just all you gotta do is really just tap the top there just to be able to feed more lead out, and just more writing lead, and basically that that with anything that is related to writing pens, that you're like Warren, that compared to the mechanical kind of writing pencils and pens, and compared to the ones that you sharpen. But really that they could we maybe think that to where that maybe if nobody really wants to get up each and every time, if they're going to be in class or maybe studying for a test, that they don't want to have to get up each and every time just to sharpen a pencil. And like Warren toward it, that if you're talking about maybe if you're even talking about baking cookies, that what's one thing, that one thing, maybe if you run out of sugar, or maybe if you run out of any other sorts of topic, you want icing. I'm like, how many of us, whenever we're going to be baking cookies, about how much icing do we think that especially the sandwich cookies? How many of us have enjoy sandwich cookies? It's like if we're going to be baking cookies, that if we're talking about between the coconut, or if it's the chocolate chip, or maybe if it's the peanut butter kind cookies, and just thinking that you tried the sandwich cookies. But anyway, really have any of us ever thought about that, to where if there's like a board game about cookies? And I know inside of Jaycee's book that she talks about the types of cookies that she likes, and beside the Girl Scouts. But you have right here of talking about with like these members of the family right here, and you're like Warren, to where there will be a game that you could maybe play that will be related to cookies, and you're like Warren, to where like cookies, like cookies that for how I can describe it, to where that there's a game to where that where you could be able to I guess if you're going to be whenever I guess the idea for the game would maybe be about is to where that besides about how the cookie tastes, is to where the special ingredients, and if anybody were warned to where that if you're going to be maybe getting on a team about maybe 3 people, during the gameplay, that each team will be divided into about maybe 3 groups, and they can maybe say that whenever you add the sugar and the vinegar and then the milk and then the cinnamon, and knowing about what you have after the cookies come out. So knowing about that, whenever we bake cookies and then we take a bite out of them, and you're like wondering to where that do we ever really think about is to where that if the cookie tastes good, and then just think it is to where that a number of things that contain inside the cookie dough, inside the ingredients. And and if anybody were wondering to where that back whenever you were young that you used to like eating raw cookie dough, and now it's like you say, it's not really safe for the health department to eat raw cookie dough, and you're like, anybody who like that, eating raw cookie dough and just thinking is that, well, it's not very healthy for you, and I know, and like say, yeah. Anything else raw, like say, yeah, well, you ever heard that, about the about chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream? Chocolate chip ice cream, I think that's raw cookie dough, and but maybe by preserved by the dairy products, preserved by the dairy products that really that if we call that raw, or if it's like that you can only have so much raw cookie dough. If I say that, it's not very healthy to do that, to eat raw cookie dough. But anyway, the way I went through these pictures right here is like, this a few members of the family. But whenever I was painting, whenever I was doing the design work on these pictures right here, I was also thinking about the ladies would be wearing maybe the skirts, and then maybe the jewelry, or like say the pine cone charm right here, and like say that you like get bracelets for the pine cone charm, and what would the gentlemen be wearing? And an activity that I would put together from a while back, it's like red petals and pink sweaters. So the guys would be wearing it, like say, if you want to call it the red petals and pink sweaters, and I don't know, does that sound like maybe like a nursery rhyme as to red petals and pink sweaters, as to where that if you're going to be going to a special event, and then the guys would be wearing like a special necktie, but then the ladies will be wearing like a special type of perfume, or maybe makeup products or something like that. But you have right here some examples right here of some gentlemen right here, and so you got the gentlemen, but still, if anybody say about how many guys have you included in this painting right here, and I'm like, well, fortunately that I only included about 2 guys right here. You have right here is a gentleman right here, and so that's just the thing about with most family reunions, that whenever we attend a family reunion, that especially for Jaycee Dugard, that what the reunion's going to be like in the next 2 years from now, by 2019, that we would think that a few your cousins, and especially if it's a graduation party, or maybe if it's a baby shower or something like that, then they're like say is to where that you may not know who's who, but just thinking that they look real smart and generous, and that for really for how you meet people in general, and just thinking that to where that some of these people, relatives, could be cousins of yours, and that I guess it goes by saying this to where it's kind of the long story, because the story goes by is to where that that person is the son or daughter of somebody that you used to work with, or that they were invited to the party. So if anybody were warned to where that that they are maybe a cousin of yours, and how many of us are going to talk to our cousins and like that they are the children of the aunt or the uncle, and just thinking about as to where that how often do you see these family members? And let's just say that you might say that it's been years since you've seen them. And what is that reason to why it's been years since you've seen them? Well, one of those reasons maybe because it's like if we get real busy with with what we got going on, and plus on your hand too that you just and nowadays with the internet nowadays, that you would think that maybe it would not be so difficult just to find family, relatives, and friends, because if they may have moved out of state, and you're just like wondering to where that you got cousins who are that they may be spread out, they may be living in parts of maybe North South America, or maybe part of Australia. So yeah, that if they're even still living in the United States, or if they could maybe be living in other continents, but still that you have a cousin that hasn't seen, like whenever you see each other, that sometimes that you think like is to where that oh yeah, I think I remember you. Yeah, the last time we seen each other, you were only 7. You were only 7 years old the last time we seen each other. But then and so yeah, if anybody say that the last time you seen somebody, they were only maybe 4'7" or 4'8", and then whenever you see each other again, that you were about maybe 7 at 9, or maybe 10, 11, or something like that. You like talk about how tall they are, and that they for the way that their hairstyle is, and then for anything for like anybody say that how many of us are going to recognize anybody in particular, as to where you got cousins or aunts or uncles that you haven't seen in a very long time, and they may look a little bit similar, but if it's been about if it's been at least maybe 10 or 12 years, or maybe 11 or maybe 15 or maybe 20 years since you've seen them. And if anybody warns this tour, if you're talking about roommates, or maybe if you're talking about people that you were best friends with for a very long time, and if it's been at least 7 years since you've seen them, that you're like wondering toward it, I wonder what they all look like now. And so so it seems like to where that whenever you see family members that especially during the family reunions, that that you're just like wondering to where at the time that they seem like total stranger to you, but then by the time that you talk to them, or maybe that by the time they introduce themselves, or if like anything that's going on, and that for anybody that may want to tour with most reunions, that whenever you see these people that just thinking about is to where do you automatically recognize them just by the way that they look, or maybe just by it's like to where that just hanging out there, and you're just like wondering to where that I think I remember you. I think I know who you are, or I'm trying. Okay, I think I know. I may know exactly who you are, but I'm trying to remember about who you're with. But so they might say something like that they are. They are the cousin, or they're the granddaughter of somebody, or they're the grandson, or maybe they might say that they're a friend of somebody else. So but let's just say the situation goes by as toward it's somebody that you knew, but it's like it's been at least 15 years, or 18 years, or maybe 22 years since you've seen them. So it's like that, people that you went to school with, or it could have been people that lived in the neighborhood, or anything like that, that if it's been at least 15 years since you've seen them, and you're like, say, the last time we seen each other, that I say that just barely recognized each other. And so really that a lot of and I'm sure that there's a lot to talk about whenever it comes to family reunions, but I want to mention to everybody here about this right here is the audio. Jaycee Dugard right here. That's the audio CD right there up top. The Stolen Life, and you have right here. And talk about your book, Freedom the First. So it's like whenever I was reading through the book, that I was also thinking about is to where that it talks about to where that the animals, especially, and like with anybody that they may want to where whenever you go to family reunions, how often are you going to maybe ask to where that somebody's pets and that. Whenever pets get older, I guess sometimes that they want to where that and say that they still walk and do their tricks. But anyway, but I was also thinking besides like the blanket though, that I was also thinking about is to where that whenever we if maybe if the grandparents are going to be making blankets for the kids, and just thinking about as to where that anything that's going to remind you of these special memories, and just thinking as to where that maybe like to have a special blanket to snuggle up with, or maybe a nightlight or something like that. Or I say recently about talking about the eclipse, but I was thinking about working that too, but I also other activities I was thinking about doing too, but still that talking about right here, you got right here is the big sister, big sister and little sister right here, and the rest of these other people could like be other members of the family right here, and just thinking about as to where that whenever you're going to have a family reunion, that you see people that you knew them, but still that really, do you come up to that situation to where that if anybody will want to wear that, especially if it's at a wedding or maybe a graduation party, that you go to an event, and then you just like this, like an let's just say if you moved out of town, that if you seen somebody there that you knew who they were, but you weren't sure if they were the person that you were thinking of. So it's like, the first thing that you may think is to her that I don't know if we met, but that they start telling you that, oh yeah, you know who I am. We used to hang out together, or we went to that. We were at the sleepover party, that was a couple years ago. So so anybody that you might think this toward that, you see people there at the reunion, or maybe if it's at the baby shower or somewhere, and just thinking this to her that you may not recognize some of the people there, but then some of them that you might recognize. But I want to mention right here, talk about Friday, August the 30th of 2019, and for the family reunion, and if anybody were to think this toward it, that especially if it's going to be for college years, and how many of these kids that grew up together, and let's just say if they wind up moving away, but then like once or twice a year that they have a reunion, so where they're able to see each other like maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and you're like say this toward it. A number of questions that you have for them, such as to where did you ever get your degree, or did you ever get your license, your driver's license, and a few other things that's been going on from the past couple of years. And sometimes with the reunions, though, that I say whenever you see each other, and just thinking about a number of things that's been going on, but really that the last what you may have heard is to where somebody was working on their bachelor's degree, or maybe for their master's degree, maybe want to open up their own business or something like that, and just thinking as to where that it could be about maybe 7 months later, or maybe a year or 2 later, and then you ask about how's that going. But really that it seems like sometimes, so that if anybody wanted to, where it seems like that there's a difference between what you think and what's actually going on, because it's like think about it, to where that the difference between the dream job and then the job you have now, and the dream job is basically what you always wanted, and then the job that you have now is just something that you just really what's going on now, and for what you gotta do just to get somewhere. But really that how do we describe this as to where that jobs, though, that jobs that sometimes that if you're going to be hired, to hire to work a job, and like if anybody were to say that do we talk about that too much at the reunions, as to where that a few members of the family that have gotten jobs, and let's just say if they had children of their own, but if they have gotten jobs, and they might say that it's not really an example of a club or a game. I didn't take the job just to get out of the house, and I didn't take the job just because that I thought I could handle it. But still, if anybody were to say that, the type of look that they may have on their faces, whenever they by the time that they get the job, or whenever they see somebody, and just think of this toward it, yeah, that are you pretty amazed about how much progress has come along so far? Is to where that yeah, you met this person at the meeting and you were talking about medical research, or you were maybe talking about something about working as a librarian. You want to work at the library, or maybe want to work for the printing business, or maybe for the publishing company or something like that. Or that if you want to maybe work at the museum. How many of us would like to work at a museum? And just think of this, to where if you're going to be working in a museum, and it's like, yeah, well, all you have to do is just walk in there and you learn about the presidents, right? Or maybe if you go in there and learn about the dinosaurs, or if you go in there and maybe like say, yeah, have any of us ever been to a toy museum, or any other sorts of museum, and where you look at toys, look at Barbie dolls, for all day? I'm like, yeah, the different Barbie dolls and stuff like that. I'm like, really? Is there any toy museum anywhere in the world where where it contains, where they display Barbie dolls? And we're not just talking about Barbie and Ken, but we're also talking about the type of Barbie dolls, to where that the ones that are not made out of plastic, the ones that are made out of wood, or if it's the ones that are kind of like what you call made out of what you call other sorts of products. And I can maybe name a couple of them, but one of those would be like a beanies, or something like that. You like Beanie Baby, type of material dolls. So you feel like we're to where they stuffed animal dolls or something like that. But really, that like for these sorts of Barbie dolls, that you would think that you go into a toy museum, and you think as to where maybe a few of those toys that are old, and I say they still display them. But anyway, but talk about right here, if anybody were to say that, yeah, they go ahead and color in a little bit right there with the pink, I say for the Jaycee Dugard reunion right there. But still, that with anything about what you call that reunions, about family members that haven't seen each other in a very long time. And if I can remember right in the book, talk about Freedom the First, that Jaycee Dugard, if I can remember, she mentions about going to the dentist and going to the doctor, and if you're going to experience your first time, maybe going to the book fair or something like that, or maybe your first time doing something, for a while, and you're just like this, like, the last time that you been to, the last time that, if anybody wanted to, the last time you've been to the doctor or something like that, that was before that you knew, anything about the mobile app or something. But, anyway, but talk about this, say, for the reunion, and if anybody were to say that, with so far as medical, so far as insurance or anything like that, do we think that maybe we could celebrate our reunion about that, about how much has come in progress? But other than that, then talk about for Jaycee Dugard. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.